So we have a fight coming up this weekend. Juanma Lopez versus Bernabe Concepcion. Two really good fighters. Juanma, which is Lopez, is from Puerto Rico. Concepcion, which is a tight name. If you don't like Concepcion, come on. Concepcion's a tight name, man. Come on, even if you don't like him. Concepcion's a tight name. He's from the Philippines, and they're going to get it on in Puerto Rico this weekend on Showtime. Tune in. Both fighters fight at 126 pounds, which is the featherweight division. A lot of great champions have fought at the featherweight division, and should be a good fight. A little background on the fighters. Juanma is supposed to be the next champion after Miguel Cotto, basically, and he's faced top level competition. His coming out debut with professional grade opponents were his first opponent was of that grade was Ponce de Leon, good fighter from Mexico, rugged fighter from Mexico. I forgot his story, but he comes from the hills of Mexico, and his family's died, and he has to defend his people. It's like very old school. Ponce de Leon, very rough opponent, and Juanma took care of him beautifully. He got him out of there in the first round. First round with the check, not one a check hook, but just short inside hooks. And Jim Lampley called it. He saw it coming, and he called it. And when Juanma came out, I remember watching him. He was someone to be feared. He was some guy who was young, coming in the game, excellent power, and he would just knock people out. For a minute there were no fighters that could last more than a round with him. So he was a very special fighter, and a lot of people had very high hopes for him. And it basically remained that way until he fought Launchy, I think a fighter from the UK, and Launchy, he knocked him out, but it took longer. And what happened in that fight is Launchy gave him a different look. He was more of a boxer, and he made it more of a technical fight. So he gave Juanma some problems, and Juanma threw a little fit in that fight. He lost his head a little bit, but he did get him out of there. And just to end on, or to switch to Bernabe Concepcion, Bernabe has not been showcased on boxing television too much, the main networks being Showtime and HBO. So I haven't seen a lot of his fights. I've seen a couple of his fights, his last two fights, Luevano, and his other fight, somebody who wasn't a superstar or known. At least I didn't know him. And in the fight versus Luevano, he was beating Luevano up pretty bad. But what happened is he knocked him down, and he hit him while he was down, so he was disqualified. And keep in mind that Luevano was the same person that Juanma knocked out in the 7th round. So that's an interesting connection that the two have. Another thing about Bernabe Concepcion is he's under Michael Kahn's and Manny Pacquiao's promotional company. I guess Pacquiao Promotions or something like that. They're trying to break off from Top Rank and do their own thing and have their own fighters, and put Boo Boy, something like that. Boo Boy is assistant of Manny Pacquiao, and I think he's training Bernabe. So Bernabe Concepcion, in terms of advantages and disadvantages, first from Concepcion to Juanma, Concepcion has the age advantage. He's 22. He has great advisors around him. He has Manny Pacquiao around him. He has probably Freddie Roach around him. He has Boo Boy around him, who's been in the game for a long time. So he's got some advantages on his side. He's quick, strong, fast. He's an orthodox fighter, so left hand first. And good fighter, man. He's very rough, and he's ready to fight. And Juanma, he's more seasoned. He's 27. He's had more professional fights against better competition. Probably the better technical fighter. Bernabe's more of a come in, go out type fighter. Lopez really is smart. He comes to each opponent and each fight with the game plan, and he sticks to the game plan, which is really good. And but that also can say something about his ability to adapt. He may not have the ability. So to sum it up, Bernabe Concepcion versus Juanma Lopez, Philippines versus Cagos or versus Puerto Rico. The fight going to take place in Puerto Rico. 126 pounds, featherweight division. If I had to choose someone, I would choose Juanma, just based upon experience in the ring. He's had fights against more top level competition, and he may be the better technical fighter. Bernabe Concepcion has a chance to win. He needs to use his youth, his speed, his power. He needs to wear down Lopez. And that's it. That's how I see the fight coming this Saturday on Showtime. Tune in. Should be a good fight. Maybe I'll have a little discussion afterwards to see what happened and why a particular fighter won the fight. It'll be interesting to see why they win a fight. And you do that to predict a fighter's chances against another fight or another fighter. And as I say in boxing, styles make fights. So let's see what happens this Saturday.